Everybody, it's Monica with your best female figure, and I just got back from a little over 2 weeks in Australia. So the first week we spent in Melbourne just taking in the sights, visiting with friends and family of Justin. He grew up just outside of there and then lived there for many years, so I got to, see it from a local's perspective. And then we spent part of our time out in the country at two different places visiting with family, and I found a stability ball. So I was able to squeeze in some of my Pilates exercises. So I did 5 rounds of this circuit that you're watching here, and this is strictly just for maintenance of core and booty. So if you're traveling or you don't have a lot of time, but you really want to, try and stick to something to maintain, where you're at, then this is a really great circuit. So you're just going to do anywhere from 6 to 8 repetitions of knee tucks, pikes, and then single leg hip extensions, also known as bridges. And then you're going to do this core activation. So it's the ball transfer, core activation, working really hard to, squeeze your deep abdominals nice and tight as you're doing this exercise. And then you're going to do a rollover with a single leg twist, which is a little bit more complicated. I was actually kept knocking that piano to my right as I was coming up to the other side. So I didn't have a whole lot of room to work in. This house that we were staying in, which is Justin's parents' house, is just chock full of antiques. Like collectibles and stuff. But I was just really happy to be able to fit in some kind of workout. I also worked out with my gliding discs and did all the things I showed in the previous video. And every chance I got while I was away, I stretched. I stretch everywhere. I am not embarrassed to stretch or to practice yoga in parks or just public places. Stretching is something that my body requires to stay healthy, fit, and happy. Like if I don't stretch on a regular basis, I am just really tight and stressed out and miserable. So that is the one thing that I don't slack off on when I'm traveling. And that little kid that just came into the video is the son of the family that we were staying with in Melbourne. And he was just adorable. He reminded me a lot of my son when my son was younger, and he used to just pop into my videos all the time. If you guys, I'll try and talk through some of the yoga stretches that I'm doing. So I started in fire logs and then into happy or rock the baby, sorry, and then seated hamstring stretch with a twist back to rock the baby. And I am speeding this up because if I don't, it just will take entirely too long for this whole video. And then from here, I did compass. Other people call it sundial. It's either one of those names is correct. I actually don't know the Sanskrit name of that pose. And then back to fire logs. And obviously, I had already repeated that stuff on the other side. So this is my second side. And then from here, I went into pigeon. And mermaid. So this entire sequence is all about opening up the hips. So if you're in a car or a plane for 15 hours like I was, this stuff is great. And then into a seated twist, which is really nice for stretching your glutes. Back to pigeon, up dog, and then switching over to the other side, pigeon, holding it for about 3 breaths or so. And then into mermaid. I didn't have a mat either, so I was actually on cement and I was on like a kind of metal platform, which wasn't the most comfortable thing. And then seated twist again here. And then I turned around and wide leg forward fold. And I was practicing in really stretchy, skinny jeans. So those jeans that I'm wearing, they stretch really nicely. So they're great if you don't feel like wearing leggings or you have other plans, you're going to walk around the city or something like that. From wide leg forward fold, I added a twist and also arm bind. And then from there, we're doing the Russian lunge, deep lunge. And then from here, we're going into crescent pose and then lunge twist. And here he comes again. He was pretty funny. He kept coming back to see what I was doing. And then intense hamstring stretch right there. And then I'm going to repeat everything on the other side. I've said this before, but I don't like putting my hair up when I'm practicing yoga, even though it kind of gets all over the place, because it kind of gives me a headache. My hair is very heavy, so I just leave it down and I deal with it. And back to wide leg forward fold with a chest opener. and then I'm going to sit back down into cow face. I never do the arms that go with cow face. I just do whatever I want with my arms. I usually just fold forward. And then here I'm doing a wide leg forward fold seated into seated gate pose, which for me has become incredibly important because it stretches my entire rib cage and my obliques, which are always really tight from teaching Pilates. Um, and gate pose is really great for that. You can also do it kneeling. I've shown that version before. Here is a modified back bend and then into down dog. From there I had to cut some footage because I just was talking to somebody. Um, and then I go into side angle and triangle. Also really important lateral stretches for opening up the rib cage and stretching inner thighs and upper back and opening the chest. And deep lunging, although I wasn't lunging as deep as I wanted to because this area where I was filming was quite narrow, but it worked for what I was doing. I think this whole stretching workout that I did after we had walked just for a little while took maybe 14 minutes. I think I had to actually just cut out some of the footage that really wasn't, any good. But from there, I'm going into really deep lunge with forearms on the floor. And then that was it. I think I was finished. Oh, I did a single leg chair pose. First, I did a fold over, or I tried to do a fold over, and I don't think that was working for my hamstrings, and my hips were actually still very tight from the 15-hour plane ride 2 days prior, but I tried it. So you just go into lotus pose with one leg, and then you fold over from your hips, not your waist, and you're really going to feel it all along the hamstrings, the calves, and obviously the hip of that bent leg. I hope you've enjoyed this quick maintenance workout. I will be back in a couple of days with another hotel room workout and some amazing hiking pics once we moved on to Sydney the following week. Thanks so much for watching.